All right. Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who were well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Amawan back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, we will always be stronger than the other nations. All right. And this is a response to the brother Baraka Allah out there in the LA camp. I had posted a video like 2 days ago. I believe it was 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago. He did a video that was it was a beautiful edification video. And I'm gonna play the video. And then I'm going to kind of just grab a couple of precepts going, according to what he's saying, laying back off of what he's saying, basically. But like I said, it was a Yapop video he did based on, us being stronger than the other nations, all right, especially the top tribe, Judah, all right, so let's grab the video and I'm going to play it from there. I got it on my Bluetooth, so you're going to be able to hear it in my car. Let me just find it where I posted it. Post. Yeah. Yeah, it's from the brother GMS Baraka Allah out there in the LA camp. It was called the Black Vulturmites. That's what it's called. The Black Vulturmites, House of David. All right. So I'm gonna play it from the beginning. It's 20 minutes long.
The ultimate. All right, hey, shalom, is Yahawah, and Yahweh Shai means he delivered. I want to start off by giving all praises to Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, and the body Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai for another blessed day, knowledge and sincerity from errands in the gym, whatnot. And there's a trend going on apparently in Japan. The Japanese people, that's the lineage of Ammon. The Chinese are the lineage of Moab. Goes back to the whole situation with Lot and his daughters. Okay. Apparently, the Japanese people are scared of Jake, dealing with the house of Judah in particular. And the Most High is
which at the end of the day, all the nations are scared, all right, of the tribe of Judah, period. And low key, they even scared of, the northern kingdom tribes also. All right. Because remember, the Lord has made us a stronger people above all these other nations. We're chosen above all these other nations. Okay. And especially these elites knowing exactly who we are, which they never wanted us to wake up to who we are. They're even more afraid now. All right. As a matter of fact, let me grab a precept off of that. This is Revelations, the 11th chapter. This is Revelations 11 and 11, and it says, and after 3 days and a half, it says, the spirit of life from Yahweh entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. Okay, so again, going into, once these people saw us waking up, all right, great fear will come upon them in those last days, all right, because we will wake up to who we actually are, you see, and that will put us in, that will put them in a predicament, basically, all right, because the one thing they never wanted us to do is wake up to who we are and combine with each other, basically come together with each other. All right, because we're very powerful when we, stand by each other, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. Okay, remember, they always wanted us to not know who we are. They want us to remain in that mentality of, how when we first split, right, after basically split as a kingdom, okay, and they pretty much wanted us to remain in that split type of situation. All right, never coming back to being together with each other. All right, and the scriptures talk about how Judah shall not vex Ephraim. Right, vex. This is Isaiah 11:13. It says, the envy of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. You see, so us coming together as one, all right, back to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Now the tribes are waking up to who they are, understanding that we're both one and the same. You see, we're both brothers. Okay, and that we were all oppressed together, as the scriptures tell you in Jeremiah the 51st, or it might have been the 50th chapter. All right, but we were all oppressed together. You see, so now we're combining. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, He has brought us back together, and that's why you see Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom out on the highways and hedges together. You see. And first and foremost, it will be the tents of Judah being woken up first, you see, because we're all woken up in order. Okay, but you might see a head that might be Northern Kingdom. Most of them is usually Judah, all right, the Southern Kingdom, but you might see heads that are Northern Kingdom, all right. And regardless of what it is, it's just us coming back together as one. You see, that's what the Ezekiel the 37th chapter is about, bringing that stick together, right? As a matter of fact, let me grab that real quick. Ezekiel 37, and I'll just get straight to the point. And this is it says 16, for moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions, and join them one to another into one stick, come into thine hand. You see, so we have been made to join each other, all right, back together, knowing who we are through the Spirit. All right, and that's what brings the great fear upon the people. All right, and then going into, like I said, the top tribe being Judah, the Southern Kingdom. A lot of these people around the world, they fear Judah. All right, just like they feared Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, just like they feared Yahweh Shai when he was on the scene. All right, and that's why Judites get they get a certain type of treatment. They get punished the worst. All right, we all get punished, but they get punished the worst because they're the top tribe. You see, they are the superior above all the tribes. Okay, we're all special to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. All right, but because the Lord is the Southern Kingdom, tribe of Judah, they are the superior above all the other tribes, and all the other tribes follow. Right. So go back to that video.
Lifting up that fear in the earth, man, because we are the superior race of people in the earth, the Israelites. Once you step out of the country and you travel abroad, you can see there's a clear height difference, bone structure, molecular structure. Even within our women, they are describing, and and pretty much they are likening us unto the Voltramites, man. Because a lot of you jakes in United States of America, you don't understand. We are those people. People taking it the wrong way, colonizers, whatever the situation is. Let
me grab this. This is, like I said, I'm just going to go in and out into scriptures. This is 1 Peter 2:9. And it says, but you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who has called you out of the darkness into his marvelous light. So we're a peculiar people, meaning what? We're a special possession, the Lord's valued property. Okay, we're a holy nation above all these other nations. Deuteronomy 14:2 says, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord Yahweh thy power, And the Lord, Yahweh thy power, has chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth. Okay, so let's go back.
They were nice people. You don't know your history. Yeah, we are nice people. We are royal people. But in order for us, how he was able to get into the land of Israel, we had to put nations down, man. The nation of Ham, all the different nations that was the land and kingdom. We had to wipe their ass out and put them in subjection. That's in the book of Joshua. Before that, we had different battles with different nations in the wilderness against Amalek, so on and so forth. And we were we were cruel unto them because the Most High gave us that power to be cruel. Those are our enemies. Those are the heathen nations. So
yeah, because in those days we were austere. We were true austere men. You know, like you said, we were nice people. We're always going to be nice people. Hey, scriptures talk about how how Jacob was a man that dwells in tents. So we some chill, laid back people, and once you vibe with us, that we a whole vibe, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like the brother was saying, we were battling all these different nations. We had to go to war with a lot of these nations and put down a lot of nations, in their place. Okay. When you go into David was a warrior, one of the greatest warriors, that the scriptures speak about. And he was a small guy, according to how they put it, you see. But he was still, because we are the children of the Lord, right? We are, the Lord is always with us, okay? And especially when we're in tune with Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, okay? As a matter of fact, let me grab that real quick. When you go into Judith, okay? When you go into Judith, the 5th chapter, right? Verse let me grab it from give me 1 second. Hold on, just where I want to grab it from. Let's take it from 17. Right. So this was talking about when this was when it was going, they were talking to Holofernes, all right, and the chief captain of the army of Ashur, right, was basically telling them that when we were in tune with the Lord, what would happen, and when we weren't in tune with the Lord, what would happen, right? So this is 17. It says, and while as they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because the power that hateth iniquity was with them. You see, it says, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. And that's what will happen. See, when we weren't in tune with Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, all right, the Lord will give us into the hands of our enemies. Why? Because we were sacrificing unto devils. We were praying unto other gods. All right. So we fell into the hands of our enemies. And then they will build, we will have things that were built up, the altars, the temples, and they will be brought down eventually, you see. And then, it will basically be all hell for us at the end of the day. But like I said in the beginning, when we were not sinning with our power, all right, we always prospered. So, when we did the right thing, the Lord prospered with us, and he was with us in many battles, man. Okay. And you got to see how our men were powerful, just where certain amount of men will be able to take out a whole entire city. One that just comes to mind real quick is what was it? Levi and Simeon, right? Which those are both instruments of cruelty when you go into the scriptures, right? And that's in Genesis, the 49th chapter. All right. But what happened when they slept when their sister has slept with one of the men of another nation. All right. They went out there and they had to actually slaughter the whole entire city. And that's what they did. So for you to do that, that just goes to show you that we were already men with certain power. You see, we were men, ready to battle at any given time when we were doing the right thing with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, right? That's just one that comes to my mind. So it says, but now are they returned to their power and are come up from the places where they were scattered and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord, Yahweh Shai, defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. You see? So that's what happens, man. Okay? When we're in tune with the Lord, man, ain't nobody touching us. Ain't nobody gonna be able to do nothing against us, because we're gonna be protected by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. He gonna give us the power to be able to take on armies if we have to. You see? The Lord had to use a couple times just angels to destroy thousands and thousands of people. So what makes you think he can't just give us the power to be able to take out a whole city if we have to? You see? So we're always going to be stronger than the rest, right? So let's go back to that video.
Japanese people are in their right mind. You understand? Was that power, the wilderness against Amalek, so on and so forth. And we were not we were cruel unto them, because the Most High gave us that power to be cruel. Those are our enemies. Those are the heathen nations. So them Japanese people are in their right mind. You understand what I'm saying? So that power is being shifted in the earth. So before I get to this information, I'll show you real quick.
And another one, yeah, I'll read it.
Start off with Zechariah chapter 12.
Never mind. I'll grab it.
Verse 2. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in siege, both against Judah and against Jerusalem. So that's actually starting right now. Even within the United States, that's why Esau is going to roll down how he's going to roll down, because we are the chosen people. We are the superior race in the earth. So peep this real quick.
So there's been a viral tweet going around the past couple days on Twitter, and it's of a Japanese person talking about black people. And I just wanted to read you a couple of the tweets from that thread. So the original tweet starts off like this. The number of encounters with black people in my neighborhood is steadily increasing. Their skeletal structure and the way their muscles are built are on a completely different level from Japanese people. I'm slim, so if I got pinned down, it'd be over in seconds. I never imagined that violence from a foreigner would climb the ranks in my prediction for my own cause of death. I couldn't have pictured that even a few years ago. Things change when you least expect them to, huh? And people that reply to that, I get it. Even in my neighborhood and on the train, the number of black people has definitely increased. And above all, their builds are just so different. The moment I see them, I think, no matter how you slice it, Japanese people can't compete with that. Even the women, despite having similar heights, have this thickness and weight-class vibe from another world entirely. When I imagine getting punched by one and thinking, I might die from a single blow, it fills me with this unbearable fear. Another response. The black folks who come to my shop are always grinning, cheerful types. They hang out at the nearby family restaurant. It's too scary.
Yeah, Why would they say that? It's the Holy Spirit. See, once you get into the true understanding of the scriptures, the Japanese once had us in slavery. All the different nations had us in slavery. We had issues with these nations. All right. So under the tabernacle of David, we subdued all the motherfuckers, man. So due to the fact we got put into captivity, we forgot who we are. So that's a compliment. That's a compliment. So
so going into what he was saying, let me bring out another scripture that makes me think of something. All right. You know, even our women, you see, as a matter of fact, when you go into, I believe it's in Exodus, you had the Hamite women, all right, were jealous of how the Israelite women looked, because they were much beautiful, way more beautiful than they were. And that's, and you see that today. You see our women are the most beautiful women upon the earth. All right, even when, you know, Judah's all fucked up, because Judah's the worst tribe right now with the women. They all beat up, all messed up. You know, they lost their hair, because their hair is their glory. You know, the Lord discovered their secret parts, so took away their hair. You know, they're down and out. Okay, but even then, they still are the most beautiful. One of the most beautiful women on earth are the Northern Kingdom tribes. They're definitely the most beautiful women on earth. And then you look at the rest of these women around the world. They can't compete. You see, yeah. Do these other nations look? Some of them look bad as hell. Yeah, absolutely. But they're not going to be compared to our women at the end of the day. All right. Which, let me grab. If I remember exactly. Hold on. Egyptian women were jealous of the Israelite woman. Let me see. Exodus 1:19. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Let me see that. This is Exodus 1:19. And then 3:22. Exodus 1:19. Yeah, it says, and the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them. All right, so it says, and I think it explains it up more. There were more. Let me see. Let me see what that word lively says real quick. Vigor of life. Okay. Vigor of life. Strong, robust. You see, robust, I believe robust goes into definition of robust. Vigorous health, strength, full of flavor. You see, full of flavor. Okay. So just being full of flavor, you know, they were way better looking than them. Okay. And let me see this other one real quick. Exodus 3:22. But every woman, let me see. But every woman shall borrow of her neighbor. Let me read it from NLT. It says, every Israelite woman will ask for the articles of silver and nah, that's not saying that. Salakia. I forgot exactly. I'm not gonna spend too much time so I can keep on with the lesson, but definitely there's a part where it talks about how the the Israelite women were better looking than the other nations, especially at the time of in Egypt. All right, they were jealous of them. Okay, which, as a matter of fact, I'll get into it. I think it's Ezekiel the 31st chapter, which I got in my mind also. That'll explain how we were looking better than these other nations. But let me get this before I forget it. This is Genesis 25, because he was talking about the muscle structure of our men. All right, this is Genesis 25, and where's that at? 23. And the Lord said unto her, all right, 2 nations are in thy womb. Okay, so this is when Rebekah had conceived Jacob and Esau. All right, Esau's the so-called white man, right? But this is just to show you, all right, that if we were going to be stronger than Esau, all right, and that was our actual brother, okay, then we're definitely going to be stronger than the rest of these other nations. So it says, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. You see, and the elder shall serve the younger. You see, so our people were made to already be stronger than the rest of these other nations. If you look at us, we have a natural build, man. We don't even have to hit the gym and we'll be naturally looking brolic. You see, what these other nations have to do is they got to try 30 times harder to even get to half of the men that we are. You see, they got to be taking, they got to go to the gym and take steroids. They got to take all these different types of drinks to increase themselves in power, and still not even close to what we are. So we're naturally a builded people. You see, we're always going to be stronger than the rest of these nations, man. All right. And that's pretty much spiritual why them Japanese was talking about, you know, how we have a different build from everybody. And the brother was just saying that also, you know, we're the superior, but we're the superior race above all these other nations. Right. So let's go back to his video.
Fair use, you know, bringing some understanding to this whole black Vulturemite stuff. The information that's circling out throughout the web, that is true. Read the book of Joshua. And that's what the Lord's getting ready to do when he raised up the 144,000. You can read that in Revelation, the 7th chapter. It's not going to be nothing nice, man. And the scriptures say the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. What do you think he's going to do? What do you think he's going to do to these people? Especially Esau, once the Heavenly Father raises up. So yeah, the world is ours, man.
Yeah, the world was created for our sakes. This is let me grab this. This is Ezekiel 25. All right, because this is what we're gonna do to these other nations, including Esau. All right, this is 25 and straight to the point. I'll take it from 12. That the point is at 14. Edom, it says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because that Edom has dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and has greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of the Dan shall fall by the sword. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people, Israel. And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger, and according to my fury, they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. You see? So that's why damn sure none of these nations gonna ever be stronger than us, because the wrath of the Lord dwells in us, man. The Lord gonna put the spirit on us to whoop ass in the kingdom. Even in these last days, giving us spiritual power when the time comes, being able to come up against these armies and Esau and his blessing. We're going to need spiritual power, you see, because of the blessing that this devil has, the technology this devil has. So the time is coming, all right, and you see it all the time, that the Lord, it says, I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people, Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to mine anger. All right, and that's coming out of both kingdoms, northern kingdom and southern kingdom. All right, and once they rouse up, all right, Judah, that's even the worst. Right? Who shall rouse them up? Let's grab that. This is Genesis 49 and 9. It says 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise, Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art gone up. He stooped down and he crouched as a lion, and as a lion and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? You see? So once you rouse up Judah, all right, it's a wrap. Shit gonna get real out here. And you're gonna see that in these last days, man. All right, so let's go back.
The meek shall inherit the earth. So another aspect, I'm sorry, another aspect of that. Man, let me get up out of here.
Shalom.
This is the picture. Hold on. I'm sorry. I want to show you the picture. This is the actual picture. So this is the picture that is circling around in the World Wide Web. This makes sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me. All right? And these are the things it's written in the scriptures, man. They just whitewash everything. It's called psychological warfare.
That's right.
All right? So read that again. Zechariah 12:2. Behold, I will make Jerusalem, not the people in the land of Jerusalem, dealing with the true people of Jerusalem, the Israelites.
That's right.
A cup of trembling.
Jerusalem is a people before a place.
Unto all the people round about. So we got taken out. You know, we had to flee out of our land from Roman persecution in ancient Israel. Ultimately, you got put on cargo slave ship. The sub-Saharan slavery, looked that up as well, the Atlantic slavery. And guess what? The same thing happened to the indigenous tribes, Native Americans, the Seminole Indians, and what you call the Spanish-speaking tribes today. One of those different, what you call the Caribbean islands. We got the same enemies, man. All right? So this is what's going on. So the Lord is pretty much raising up the tents of Judah first. All right? He says, when they shall be in siege, both against Judah and against Jerusalem. Judah represents, you know, started with the head tribe Judah, but is the house of Judah, the Negroid tribes. And then it says against Jerusalem, that's, you know, southern kingdom and northern kingdom. You know? So that's what's going on. It says, in that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. Yeah, that's a burden on them. Like, what? Even I've been to Japan. I was stationed in Japan for a year in Mount Fuji, and that was great. So I'm speaking from experience of that whole year experience. Holy crap! So it's true. Not like I had any issues. Ammon had no issues with me. I ain't got no problems with Ammon, but you had those looks. Like, wow, you play basketball? Oh, wow, you're so tall. You know, going to the different bathhouses with fucking freaky motherfuckers. Still gotta wear a towel, man. Excuse me. You know, of course, you know, they looking and shit. It makes you feel uncomfortable. Like, dude, what the fuck, man? Because they got little ass rods, man. You know? Real shit, man. So we are a superior people. So the United States of America, this captivity made us feel inferior to umpteen power because we went into idolatry, rebellion against our power. So now the most
and that's why, you see, and that's why all these other nations have always been jealous of us. As a matter of fact, let me bring that out real quick. Starting all the way from the garden, all right, because the Lord had made us superior above all these other nations. When you go into, I believe it's Ezekiel the 31st chapter, I quoted it before. Let me just grab it. Ezekiel 31, and yeah, this is one, and let's grab it from. I'm gonna grab it from. Let's grab it from 3. Yeah. All right. And this is talking about us, right? It says, son of, I'm gonna grab it from the NLT first. It said, yeah, from the NLT. It says, son of man, give this message to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and all his hordes, right? It said hordes. It says, to whom would you compare your greatness? You are like mighty Assyria, which once like a cedar of Lebanon, with beautiful branches that cast deep forest shade, and with its top high among the clouds. Right? It says, the waters made him great, the deep set him up on high, with water rivers running around his plants, about his plants, and sent out the little rivers onto all the trees of the field. Right? And when you go into the garden, all right, when Adam and Eve were exposed to what they did, they had to try to hide themselves among the trees in the garden, which the trees were actual people. And what did the Lord say to them? What the Lord said, that they couldn't hide themselves among the trees, all right, because they were much stronger, they were better looking, they were the superior out of all the other nations, you see, which is going to say that. It says, therefore his height was exalted above the trees of the field, and his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of the waters when he shot forth. All the fowls of the heaven, and we're all made from the waters of Judah. All right. So keep that in mind. It says, and the fowls of the heaven made their nests in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young, and under his shadow dwell all great nations. You see? It says, thus was he fair in his greatness, and in the length of his branches, for his root was by great waters. The cedars in the garden of Yahweh could not hide him. The fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of Yahweh was like unto him in his beauty. You see? NLT says, no other cedar in the garden of Yahweh could rival it. No cypress had branches to equal it. No plane tree had boughs to compare. No tree in the garden of Yahweh came close to it in beauty. And this is a metaphor, you see. So he's talking about how we're above the rest of these other nations. That's why we're always going to stick out, right? I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that the trees of Eden that were in the garden of Yahweh, which is that garden of Eden, envied him. You see? So that just goes to show you that all these nations had always envied us for that reason, because we're the chosen people of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. And that's the reason why we're going to always look better, look-wise. We're going to be stronger than all these other nations. We're just always going to overpass the rest of these nations in everything we do. That's why we're the salt of the earth. That's why we, basically, we're better than all these nations in every sport that you could put them in. Shit, you can even put us in hockey and we'll be better than these niggas. You see? And that's a whole Edomite sport. All right? So, Jake will always be the salt of the earth and be envied worldwide. Okay? And it's crazy because even like you'll go to another country, right? And someone like me will go to another country, and I've heard shit like this. Motherfuckers will think I'm straight Judah. And I'm looking at them like, what the fuck? They just think I'm a whole nigga. You see? I don't know if it's the way maybe I have my appearance, the way I talk, or whatever it is. But all my life, people, I've dated women in the past, and their parents thought I was a whole black man, or portrayed me as a black man. And see, that's because we the salt of the earth, man. All right. And again, we come from the waters of Judah. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much the point. I don't even have to keep going, but that you could read up on that chapter, Ezekiel 31. You got to have the spirit to understand what's being said. All right. So let's go back to the video.
Besides raising us up, the vibration is changing in the earth, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Look at big ass Shaq. Look at LeBron James. Those are giants. Okay? And I'm 6'4", So
yeah,
it makes sense.
And as a matter of fact,
it makes perfect sense.
Back in the ancient time, our stature was even higher, man. We was tall people. We was giants, man. You see? But because we were sinning, we were fading away, everything is fading away. It's basically like we were shrinking up out here, man. And we're still taller than the rest of these other people. Okay? So.
You see? So that burdensome is happening right now. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces. So the Lord is bringing up that fear in these nations, man. All right? And the Lord, them girls love it. They loved it. Jake talking about, you got a lot of babies out here. No, I don't. You know, I was very, you know what I mean? Hell no. All my seeds is right where I'm at in Southern California.
And the women, all the women gonna love us, man. All right? And the kingdom, they love us now. These women be trying to flock to us now. They don't like their own race. They don't like being with their own. If you look at all these foreign women from all these other nations, man, they all hate being with their own men. All right? And definitely the so-called white woman. All right? She definitely hate being with her own damn type of man. You see, that's why they flock to us, because that's always been how it has been. You know, we had a lot of these women as straight concubines in those days, man. And we're going to go back to that. When the time comes in the kingdom, bro, we're going to have our wives from every tribe, and then we're going to have a whole bunch of concubines to deal with, man. Okay? And they're going to love it like they always did. Okay?
We don't get down like that. My sect of Benjamites, we don't get down like that. I come from a clan, bro. You know, all our pygmy them is accounted for. You know? But it's happening. That's not only in Japan. Jake, I tell you about Germany. I've been telling these brothers, beloved brothers, when I first started teaching them, yo, get your passport, man. Shit is way different outside the United States. But you know, it is what it is.
Nah, but he ain't
so
lying,
been going on.
See, when you go to these other countries, they treat you like gold, man. They'll treat an Israelite man like gold when you go to these other countries. All right, the women hella feminine. You know, they ready to serve you. It's only here in America that you called that nigga. Well, I mean, it's all over. We're a byword. That's a curse upon us. Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, we shall be a byword in the city and all that. All right. But here in America, they make it worse than what it is. You see, they teach these people to hate you. But when you go to these other countries, even amongst our own tribes, when you go to these other countries, we're treated like fucking gold, man. It's being here in America that this shit is fucked up. Being here in America around Americanized women is where we're not treated fairly and we're not treated right. You know, we treat it like trash, but they can't wait to serve you in these other countries, boy.
Open up everything now, and you got a bunch of damn derelicts that fucked it up.
He said it'll be one big happy ending. Facts.
Anyhow,
you know them Ammonites and the Moabites is known for that.
Shall inherit the earth. All right, our Lord and Savior YAHAWAH'S, I liken him unto General Thrag, man. The ultimate Israelite is gonna put a foot up your ass, man. The so-called black man on the whole world, you're gonna put a foot up your motherfucking ass, man. Are we gonna say that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, the whole world is gonna bow down to the so-called black man that they hated the most, you know, had all this perpetual hatred for. And you're gonna bow down to the Israelite man, period. All right. But like I said earlier, Judah's the superior tribe above all the tribes, and YAHAWAH'S is a so-called black man from the tribe of Judah. So you're going to bow down to YAHAWAH'S regardless, man, and the rest of the tribes, man. But bound down to Judah first, okay?
Table with him. We're going to sip your yarn and conduct business transactions over you heathen nations, man. Okay? Clean up the earth. And then the universe will be ours. Just like that cartoon movie, which is based upon our history, man. All right? Reads about the tabernacle of David. King David was a bloody man. He killed 10,000. You little niggas out here running around, you got two bodies and shit. You used to take out thousands, man.
Facts.
Millions, bro. One Israelite took out 800 men by himself. Read your freaking Bible, man.
Facts.
And picture your ancestors there. The whole world hates us, so fucking what? You know, it sucks, but we're going to reclaim everything. All these nations will be subdued, under the Israelites, under Yahawashi, YAHAWAH'S Yahawashi, in due time. So it has begun. So you're going to be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. It says in that day.
Let me grab this. This brings to mind, this is Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51 and 19. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord Yahweh of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, for with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms, and with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces the young and the young man and the maid. All right, I will break in pieces the shepherd and his flock, and with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen. With thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers, man. See, that is it. And that's going to be with spiritual power. That's going to be us, you know, having this place as a possession, as an inheritance, as we were supposed to, man. You see, because the world was created for our sakes, man. You see.
They, Yahweh, I will smite every horse with astonishment, his rider with madness. So they come up with the military might, the super soldiers and all that stuff. Because, hey, the time of Jacob's trouble is coming. All right? But madness, you're going to tap into their minds. Make them afraid, make them terror.
Yeah, scriptures say that we're going to meditate terror upon our minds, man. And when the time comes that we're given spiritual power, shit, we ain't even gonna be able to, we ain't even gonna really have to touch you if we don't want, man. Well, our minds are gonna meditate terror, man. So we're gonna be, if I want, I just might look at your ass and make your fucking head explode. You see, make your eyeballs pop out your sockets if I feel like it. You see, and that's the time that's the spiritual power Lord gonna give us in those days, man. The Lord said, greater powers that you shall do that I have done, right? Let me grab that real quick. That's where was that? That's in John. Where's that at? Greater works. Yeah, 12. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I shall do, he do also. The greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. So Yahawashi was doing great miracles, doing all types of things, man. And we're going to do greater things than Yahawashi did. And the books, the scriptures say that the amount of miracles that the Lord did, the things that the Lord did, can't even be contained in books in the world. There wouldn't be enough books to write down the miracles and the things that the Lord did. So we're going to be able to do all that, man, and more, you see, because he goes to his Father.
It's terrified. Just like the days of old. We went to the land of Israel, into the promised land under Joshua. That's what happened. Even the angels stood up and fought for us.
That's right. I said that earlier.
The 7 kingdoms of AI, the 7 kings. The 7 kings. The Hamite nations and many other nations, even Ammon. When you go into the scriptures, try to disrespect King David. What the fuck you think we did to them Japanese, man? Motherfuckers. and Israel been out there in Japan, in the so-called Asia world. We got a lot of history out there. The history of the samurai, the first ancient kings that were set up in China, Japan. Those were Israelites, man. That's the type of information they're not going to tell you. That guy, they made a little show about Yosuke. He was not the only samurai, man. It goes way back. The first shogun of Japan was a so-called black man. You can look that up. I like to get, because I was stationed there, man. And that whole lifestyle.
I'll be honest with you, I believe when they dropped that bomb in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, it was because there was a lot of our people there. Remember, we're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So a lot of our people were actually mixed in there, man. And that's why, you know, like he said, a lot of history goes back to out there and with Ammon and Moab, you see. So I believe when they dropped that bomb over there, they dropped that shit because we had a lot of people out there on low key status, man. You see, they're not gonna tell you these things though.
Freaked me. I was stationed at Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji Mountain was in the back of my fucking room. Look out every morning, look at the mountain and shit. You see? So that's the beauty of it when you get to travel. You know, man, you know, y'all, a lot of people out there just don't know, man. But the Lord is enlightening our people now, ultimately through the mouth of the prophets. So that's the understanding. That's the type of power the Lord is going to give his men out here. And in the kingdom, our women are going to be super women as well. You know, like shit. You kidding me with all that thickness they got? You kidding me, dog? That's who these Wonder Woman and all the Supergirls, those are the Israelite women. Of course,
they're not going to be on some spiritual power shit like the men, but they're going to have their own little, you know, they're going to have their own little, you know, what the Lord give them. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, they're Israelite women and they're going to be above the rest of these other nations also, right?
It don't be on our level.
Oh, shit.
You kidding me with all that thickness they got? You kidding me, dog? That's who these Wonder Women and all the Supergirls, those are the Israelite women. Of course, they're not going to be on our level. You see, that's even in the comics. Okay? So all praise Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. And I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah. And I will smite every horse of the people with blindness. Okay? And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem be my strength. All right? And the Lord of hosts, their God. That's southern kingdom and the northern kingdom coming back, man. When we come back, we're strengthening each other. In that day, I will make the governors of Judah like a heart of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheep. They shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in their own place, even in Jerusalem. All right, so let's get that real quick in the NOT. That's spiritual power. It says, on that day I will make the clans of Judah like a flame that sets a wood pile ablaze, or like a burning torch among the sheaves of grain. That is spiritual power. And I will burn up all the neighboring nations, the heathen nations, the Japanese, Chinese, you fucking East Indians. You're going to get fucked up. All right, when the Lord raises up to that power of, it's going to be beyond the Vultramites experience, man. You're going to be able to control the elements. That is just one factor of it with the super strength, regeneration and all that stuff. And we're not going to die. You ain't going to create a weapon and shoot a hole through us. Oh, shit. No, that's not going to happen. We're going to be indestructible out here.
That's right. And I ain't even going to play the rest of it. There's only about 2 or 3 minutes left. But y'all get the point. As a matter of fact, I'll leave y'all with this one. All right. So he was talking about weapons. This is Isaiah 54 and 17. And it says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. And every tongue that thou shalt rise against thee, in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. Yeah, so if that's that, it says this is the heritage, okay, of the servants of the Lord, man. So it's part of our heritage. It's part of our culture to be able to have spiritual power, to be above the rest of these nations, and no weapon that's formed against us is going to be able to prosper, and damn sure not going to be able to prosper against Yahweh Shai, because the servant is no greater than his master. You see? So, you know, that's pretty much the point. You know, if you want to watch his video, the rest of it is on my my posts that I post, you know, different Share Brothers videos and things like that. It's called the Black Vulturemites. All right. And hey, man, ain't no nation gonna be stronger than us. We always gonna be stronger and above all these other nations. We're gonna look better than these nations. Our women gonna look better than them. All right. We're gonna be, you know, once again, always above every single one of these nations that are around us, because the Lord has chosen us to be a what? Peculiar people, a special people, a valued property above everyone else. Okay. So it's not going to happen. You can't take down the Israelite man. Okay. Especially, all right, in the times that's about to come. All right. That this is the last captivity. We're about to enter into the kingdom. So the Lord gonna put us on he gonna bring us up high, man. He gonna raise us up high. Right. So, you know, I'm gonna leave it there through the Spirit. Lord willing that you were edified, you know, by myself and the brothers video also at the same time. And you know, hey, I'll leave it there through the Spirit. Call Elohim La Yahawah Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Call Elohim La Yahawah Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who were well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith, enduring as good soldiers of Yahweh Shai as always, and stay prayed up and continue to throw them prayers up that this place go down to flames. A Bible ball real soon. Shalom.